hello.
Oh, hello. How's it going?
Hey, what the hell? Let me figure this out. You're in my ears and you're in my car.
Isn't that a song?
I think that's the Gary Newman song.
Yeah, get out of my ears.
Yeah, you're in my headphones.
Hey. Oh, God. So how should we start?
Yeah.
How should we start? The idea of doing it over the phone like this is actually really good. So, yeah. If this is the very beginning, if this is right from the top, we should almost introduce what it is that we're trying to do here. And even if not introduce it, for me, it would make a lot of sense for me to like sort of talk it out so I could figure out what it is that I'm trying to do here while we're doing it. Because I think that's the biggest defining part of this album for me is I know where I'm headed, but I don't know what it is. And so, you know,
I feel exactly the same way by trying to follow you.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that you're not going to be the only one, man. It's like the theme of the album is starting to appear as monsters and animals playing together, or evil things and quote unquote good things just sort of existing together without being at war necessarily. It's about allowing those two things to have their voice and then observing what it is that they're trying to say and then making a document about that process. I mean, I've spent a lot of time discussing it in press, but you never know how many of those interviews actually get heard, right? Like, or read. So I take for granted perhaps that things that I assume people recognize about the way I do things are known, but I have a feeling they're not. And so I think that this documentary series that we're working on here is a great opportunity for me to once and for all make it clear that my entire artistic existence, every piece of work that I've done is rooted in the exact same fundamental process. And that process is about self-actualization. And as a result of being emotionally very stunted since very young, it's very difficult for me to express myself in an authentic way. I find it difficult to cry. I find it difficult to be angry. I find it difficult to be sad. I'm very neutral, and that's by design because I think I've been afraid of expressing myself for so long. And the loophole for that since I was a child was that I was able to articulate myself through music. And so music has ended up being a type of therapy for me. And when people talk about, well, what's your favorite song that you've done, or what's your favorite album, I literally don't think about it like that at all. It's each record, if it's done correctly, accurately depicts the process of self-actualization that occurred during that time period. So what City was when I was 25, or what Infinity was when I was 27, or what Terria was when I was 29, and the records are about the growth that happened that year. And as that growth occurs, what typically happens with me is that it becomes very much like an archaeological dig, where I find myself drawn to certain things, and retroactively I realize that I'm drawn to those things because that internal barometer is guiding me towards conclusions, because the terrified child in me is too difficult and too emotionally stunted to understand what's going on. So I find like, okay, now I'm interested in native art, color green, shadows, this sort of font, whatever. And then all of a sudden it starts going towards that. And a clean guitar, and then a certain type of amplifier, and a certain type of compressor, and a certain type of look, and a certain type of vocal sound, and all these things become a pyramid. And at the very top of the pyramid it's defined, finally. And at the very end of the record is when it becomes clear to me that that's what I've been looking at the whole time. And up to that point, it's just been these vague clues that I've been subconsciously drawn to that I didn't understand till I got to that point. And for whatever reason, that's my process, is I verge on being obsessed with understanding myself as I go. So it's important to me that with a clean slate, we're able to document this process. I've never been able to capture it from the very beginning. You know, it's always retroactively having to describe it, or through other people, or through the actual technical side of it. But
I think these phone calls are a good sort of staple just to have all over the place instead of like a direct interview or whatever.
Totally. I 100% agree, man. And I even saying this today and doing this sort of interview with you is getting a lot off my chest. So it's a great feeling to start with.
I would think of it less of an interview and more of just like a recorded conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great, because it's like, as long as I can ramble, man, it's going to come out. And that's that. And when I'm not being like looked at, it's a lot easier for me to ramble. So
yeah. And then maybe in 2 weeks, if you talk over the phone again, it might be something different.
It will be. I guarantee you.
It's all a part of it.
Basically, next time I'll say, this is what's happened since the last time we talked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, man.
I just want Cheerios.
Now I just want Cheerios. Yeah, that's right. Now I'm going back to, I'm putting both bands together, bud.
Okay, cool.
Okay, man. Thanks a lot. I'm sending this to you now. I'll see you soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Cheers.
All right, bye.